Welcome to Life and Liberty Radio with David Householder. I'm Josh Jose, and together, you and I are taking another step toward freedom, both spiritual and political. So get comfortable, breathe in, and ignite your imagination. Envision a society that is spiritually deep and truly free. It's easy if you try.
Basically, since about 7th grade, I have been an incurable gym rat. I like to go to locker rooms and gyms and work out, and I've always been involved in sports all the way through college. In fact, in graduate school at the University of Chicago, I was involved at the University of Chicago Track Club and have stayed active ever since. I've tried all kinds of different things. And I've done the weightlifting thing, I've done the surfing thing, I've done the running thing, I've done all of the things and enjoy all of them a great deal. In fact, surfing is definitely my favorite of all the things I've done. Snowboarding is probably a close second, but by far the most useful thing I've ever done for my fitness is called Pilates. And Pilates is a German physical fitness program that comes from the early 1900s. It was put together by a man named Joseph Pilates, and Joseph Pilates was from Mönchengladbach in Germany, and his father was a gymnast and his mother was a naturalist. And so, of course, he grew up in a physical culture and a sort of natural eating and herbal kind of environment. And he was a very sickly kid, and he decided he didn't want to do that anymore. He wanted to be healthy, much like Teddy Roosevelt during the same kind of time. And he was also a professional boxer and circus performer. And while on a boxing tour in 1912 and following in England, where he was training some people there in England, World War I broke out between England and Germany, and he was interred there in England, and he was unable to return to Germany, and of course he had limited resources and access to exercise equipment, so he came up with, over the next 4 years, one of the most remarkable physical culture programs, if you want to call it that, that's ever been put together, called the Pilates method, and he actually called it contrology, and this was a way of getting the very most exercise in the very least amount of time with the least amount of equipment. And it's amazing how if you put your mind to something for 4 years and you train people with it, having basically nothing but a mat and minimal equipment, it's amazing what you can come up with if you're one of those motivated people as he was. Well, Pilates, the Pilates method here, it focuses on core strength, and your core is called your powerhouse. It's described as a box, and it sort of includes the hip and the lower abdomen area, roughly. And he talks about getting proper posture and proper breathing. And since I've been practicing Pilates for the last year or two, my posture has changed just radically and entirely. And I feel much better walking, standing, and I'm starting to realize what bad habits I'd gotten into when it comes to posture. Having proper spinal alignment is so very central and vital to our health. In fact, as I'm doing this podcast, I realize I'm sitting up very, very straight and was a little frustrated that the microphone was set a little bit too low, because I like to sit up straight now, and I don't do it just because my mother says so. It feels better, and I am healthier. Now, he made some outrageous claims back in the day, saying that and claiming that, and he writes this in his books, that basically this method can keep you from getting sick. Now, of course, you think, well, that's how people thought back then, and that can't be true, but since I started practicing this, I haven't gotten sick. Now, that could be a coincidence, but every winter I used to get sick, and sick for weeks, and I'd have that migrating sort of sinus, cough, lung, sneeze, sniffle, sore throat thing that kind of rotate through my body every winter for a few weeks, and it became just a part of my routine, and it's not happening anymore. So is that a mere coincidence? I don't think so, but of course there's no double-blind experiment that can prove anything else. And also during the Pilates practice that I've been doing for twice a week for almost a couple of years now, I also have been able to maintain incredible good health during the busiest work period of my life. I've never worked more hours. I worked 2.5 full-time jobs for the last year or so, and year and a half, and it was incredibly busy, often going to bed at 1:30, getting up at 5, and getting all kinds of things done, and I wasn't tired, and I wasn't fatigued. And I really do believe that this remarkable exercise program is much more than even the founder of it thought of. You just have to be consistent and go to it. And it's incredibly hard. The first few times I went to it, I almost cried, and I'm not the crying kind of guy. I was very intimidated by the whole thing. I'm not very flexible, and my flexibility has been improving incredibly. I can touch the floor now with very straight knees. That's never been the case in my life, so that's fairly amazing. My posture is way better. My breath is way better as far as breathing goes. And he believed that forceful exhale was the key to good breathing in general, to really push the air out. And I'm very much able to do that in ways that I wasn't able to do before. I feel I have a lot more control over my breath. Typical Pilates workout, you show up with a mat and you have an instructor. And the instructor has the class there, and you go through a whole bunch of core exercises. I jokingly call it 1,000 different ways to do crunches. And some of them are just awful. And having a gifted teacher is really important. The teacher at the gym where I go, her name is Catherine Slay, and she has a lot of fun with the group and makes it fun, because it's not fun. It really isn't. It's very, very hard. And it's important to have a good-natured teacher while you are doing it, and someone who genuinely likes the class. So I would just invite you to give this a shot, to try it, and to check out the 2 books, which I'm going to feature here on my page, which he wrote. There's basically 6 principles to the whole thing, or 5 or 6 principles. One is control, and one is centering, getting focused on your body, and being aware of what your muscles and bones are doing. The other one is flow and transitions between the different exercises. And graceful transitions are always, for whatever reason, it seems to help the whole process. Precision. I keep growing in my ability to have precision in these movements, and I find that this precision is helping me become a lot more aware of where my body is, when I'm sitting, standing, walking, doing all kinds of other things. And of course, then there is the whole breathing thing. So I would just invite you to give this a shot sometime and try that. If nothing else, you can find something, as a video on the internet or on the TV cable channel or whatever, and give this a shot. But it's remarkable in its results, and I'm very grateful for having had a chance to work out this way. So I'm intending to do this long term, and I'm intending to go the distance with the kind of health that comes out of the Pilates method.
So put some sunshine and water on these fresh ideas and keep taking that next step toward freedom. Join us every weekday for the latest life and liberty ideas. The views expressed on this program are purely those of the presenter, and not necessarily those of the advertisers or organizations or persons with which the presenter has a relationship. Please click on the Amazon banner at the top of the Life and Liberty page, and consider doing all your online shopping through this portal. See you tomorrow.